Well, today was a beginning for me. I have done some multiplayer, flying with friends recently, but I decided to branch out, and I've been looking at joining bigger groups and doing bigger community things. And I happened to tag along with the UOAF today for a mission take place during their coastal front theater set in the early 1980s in Europe against the Soviets. So naturally, I'm into that. So we were originally the package I was in, buckskin, which pretty freaking cool. Um, being a vigilante Montana guy, buckskin. That was actually kind of neat that it just happened. Anyway, so we were on an Oka strike. We were going to be taken out of airfield. That's what Oka strike. And my actual target was going to be the center portion of the runway. And before the strike, we do our big briefing. We get all our things organized, and it's like how Mike Tyson said, everybody has a plan till they get punched in the face, and we got punched in the face in the form of a Soviet strike package that apparently pushed into our area. So we take off. Almost, we were like, hey, we got a frago basically, and we're like, hey, we're not doing this. So we take off, and flight lead's like, all right, hey, jettison your air to ground ordinance. We don't need to be carrying 4,000 pounds of what the fuck, because we're gonna be, we're intercepting a strike package. It's like, all right, uh, yeah, I didn't remember how to do that, like at all. I had like a vague memory of doing it one other time years ago, and it's just like shit. So I'm like fumbling, trying to remember how to do it. Um, as it turns out, I remembered everything except the key part of putting your master arm switch on. So yeah, I go through the SMS page, and I select the right stuff, and then I go to jettison it, and nothing happens. Um, Now, before we even left, I had already annoyed flight lead once, and it's my first day. I'm new. It's my first day, so I didn't know. I'm used to flying the Block 50 with TACAN and or not sorry with that comes up in a minute with Link 16 and and the freaking heads up or the head mounted display, and situational awareness is really easy. And I've been spoon fed, and immediately I remembered that there was a time this stuff didn't exist, and here it is. So Flight Lead's trying to get me to do yardstick, and I'm like, dude, I don't, what the fuck is yardstick? So he's like, oh God, he's sitting there like, oh Jesus, oh God, it's stupid, it's stupid. Why is two so stupid? Thankfully, it sounded like four was having more problems than I was, so it took a little bit of the heat off of me. For now, I end up fucking up again later. So we end up. Uh, I had already irritated him, and so now I'm at the part where I fucked up later. So I had already irritated him, but I didn't want to like be like, hey, how do you selectively jettison things? So I'm going through the thing, going through what I thought was the correct steps, and it wasn't working. And I'm looking around the cockpit, and I'm like, well, I I know what will definitely punch those tanks off. And then I had this 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 just dumb thought.
Did you jettison all your tanks?
Evidently. I will remind you I was told to come here and I didn't need to know a lot.
It's okay. Remember that when you're bingo, like 3000, go home so you can land, okay?
So, after his long, very annoyed pause and sigh, he's like, "Fuck, what am I gonna do with this moron?" So he's like, "Hey, you see that airport off your right wing that we've been orbiting? Um, how about you go down there and land, and maybe if you ask them nicely, they will top off your tanks. And sure enough, I land and open up the emergency fuel door, or sorry, not the in-flight refuel door. So here's the thing, I forgot where that was too. I'm all at this point, man, like everything that I was under the impression that I remembered, and like, oh, I've done this before, I'll remember it. Fuck no, all of that was gone. Like it's just gone. And I'm like scanning around the cockpit, like where in the motherfucking hell is this? And then it just then my brain, it's over here. Like I remember it, and then I open it up, and the flight lead's like, hey, where are you? And I'm like, I'm still. It's the ground crews taking their time, you know. So anyway, I get the fuel, I taxi back out, and then we take off. Or I take off. So as I'm in the air, they're about to merge. Like they're calling out, like they're moving into a group of like 8+ bandits. Like the whole fucking Soviet Air Force is mustering, and I'm like, ah, here I come, you know. And they're telling me like, hey, push it to the firewall, dude. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I got the freaking throttles to the wall, man. I'm going, and I'm climbing to try to figure out where they are. He tells me that they're at like 21,000 or 23,000 feet, and I'm looking at the radar and I'm fumbling with it, and I see a big group, and I'm like, okay, that must be the fur ball. And then I just start locking up singletons, and I keep getting like a buddy spike, but I can't tell if it's me or someone else because I had been hearing buddy spikes the whole time, and I hadn't been locking anyone up. So I'm like, okay, well, that could be anyone, but it's certainly not me, right? So I'm like, oh, and I had, at this point, I'm so task saturated with comms because I don't know how to turn down the volume of COM 1. So I got the GCI and like the whole package talking over flight lead. So I can't hear what's going on. So I do the sensible thing and I just change the radio to some random frequency, so I don't have to hear that anymore. And I can hear what flight leads wants. And then I'm trying to tell him I don't know what the fuck I'm doing in so many words. And they're telling me that they're merged, and then I'm like, okay, well, was close to them. Had I known how TACAN works, I would have known I wasn't as close as I thought I was to them. So the target that I had picked out of that group, I lock it up, and I'm like, all right. And I'm not hearing it, and I didn't hear it, and I unlock it, and I lock it again, but I'm hearing the buddy spike call, and then I'm not hearing the buddy spike call, but I'm hearing like Raphael is the call sign, but I'm thinking the fighter, I'm looking for that, a Dorito looking piece of shit, and like as it turns out, that's not even a thing that exists now, where I'm at. But I don't know why that's what I'm looking, because that's what I hear. And then I hear flight lead talking about merging with a MiG-21, but what I see in front of me has swept wings and looks vaguely European, and it's definitely not an F-14 or an F-111. It's nothing I give a fuck about. So I lock it up, visually, and I get a declare, and I don't get shit. Because I asked for a declare on the wrong fucking frequency, and I should have been asking the human GCI, but I'm asking the AI because I'm in default mode because I'm merged with what I think is a MiG-23. But he's like not maneuvering, so that should have been my first clue. But at this point, I had like fucked so many things up. I was bound and determined, like I'm gonna prove it. And then, as it turns out, I shot him, but I didn't shoot him down. He's able to RTB, and everything's fine. He got a really good like training evolution where he gets to learn how to land with a flamed out engine and probably some other avionics damage. I don't know, but he made it home. Okay. And I hit 100% of the things that I engaged. I made 2 successful landings, which is like, I don't know, 50% better than my normal landing rate. And I always land. It's just the condition of the aircraft is usually questionable. But I stuck 2 good ones. I did intercept that tornado pretty well. Um, yeah, so all in all, probably the most fun I've had, and the most you don't know what you don't know learning experience. That holy fuck, I can't wait for the next one.
Buckskin 1-2, contact ground, switch to 228075.
All right, I made a lot of fuck ups, but like that was incredibly crazy. I really hope I didn't smoke check a friendly. I guess I'll find out.